So tonight we are learning about the amazing month of Nissan, which is coming tomorrow night. Probably by the time the video gets up, it'll already be Rosh Chodesh. And this is it's Shabbos Mevarchim. We've already been blessing Nissan, and this is the month of Geula. This is the month of redemption. This is the month of miracles. It says in Sefer Bnei Yissaschar that even the name Nissan comes to the word Nisim, which is about miracles. And we're going to learn that this is really the month of really living life to the fullest, okay? Which is why it's so appropriate that we have such good Gashmias tonight. And so we're going to be analyzing the month of Nisan from many different perspectives, and that Jewish astrology is actually a thing. We mention every month that in the Sefer Yetzirah, the book of formation from Avram Avinu, so it talks about the different zodiac signs, and it talks about the fact that Nisan is connected to the Mazal Tileh, which is Aries, which is a lamb. Okay, so which is also very interesting that a lamb is a Korban Pesach. So this is part of the energy of Nisan is about Aries, and as well as many other perspectives that the Sefer Yetzirah teaches us, that it tells us that every month has a letter which is connected to that month, and and besides the letter, it also has a certain sense, and as well as a certain tribe, as well as a certain formation of the name of Hashem. Okay, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yud Kei Vav Kei. So there's 12 different ways of organizing the letters, and so.
Can I sit next to the woman there?
Yeah. Come. You're not sitting next to the woman. You're sitting next to the chicken. So
that's why I came actually.
Mm-hmm. So we have different perspectives of the Shem Havaya, and so I thought actually it would make more sense for tonight to start from the perspective of understanding the Shem Havaya. The Shem Havaya of the name of Hashem of the month of Nisan is actually the most straightforward. It's the way that it always appears in our Siddurim. Like, of course, Chas v'Shalom, it's forbidden to pronounce the name of Hashem. It says that the person that pronounces the name of Hashem is like he has no reverence to his Creator, and like horrible things happen to him. But Hashem allows us to know that this is the essence of his being. So what is this name Yud Kei Vav Kei? And we'll start from this as a way to understand like the energies of the month of Nisan. So when we're talking about Yud Kei Vav Kei, so there's a Yud, and then a Hey, and then a Vav, and then a Hey. Okay, so what is these three letters? What do they represent? So the Yud and the Vav, so they represent two parts of expressing oneself. Yud represents the intellect, and Vav represents the emotions. Okay, the Vav is the midot, the Yud is the chokhmah. Okay, so and then what's the Hey? What's the Hey? So the Hey, it says, is the vessel. Okay, that's why that the Yud and the Vav are considered masculine energies, and the Hey is considered a feminine energy. That's why in Hebrew, so any word that has that ends with a Yud, so that means it's feminine. Okay, Yalad, Yada, Ish, Isha, everything is what else? Talmid, Talmida, everything is just you add a Yud, Kelev, Kalba, Chatul, Chatula, and so the Yud is the Hey represents feminine, and the feminine energy is the energy of having a vessel. Okay, what does that mean? That the feminine energy is that to embrace the energy and to actualize it. Okay, that's the energy of the Hey, which is the energy of Kli, energy of a vessel, which is actualizing the light of the Yud or the Vav. Okay, so the correct order, the order of rectification, the order of tikkun, the order of perfection is that there should first be a Yud, first that there should be a thought process, an intellect, then there should be a vessel to manifest those thoughts. Then there should be, as from the thoughts come the emotions, okay? Meaning as opposed to people that first they feel and then they adapt their thinking to the way they feel. Like the tikkun is that first you think and then you feel. Meaning that I love what it makes sense for me to love, and I hate would it make sense for me to hate? So first is the yud, first is the intellect, and then is the vav, then is the emotions. The emotions is a product of my thoughts. And after I have actualized my thoughts, then I present my emotions, and my emotions also need a vessel, and that is the second hey. Okay? So the second hey is actually the last letter of the name of Hashem, and it says that this last letter, this represents in the Sfirot, this represents the Malchut. Okay, the Malchut is where everything comes together, meaning that it's not just, like you can have the actualization of the thoughts, but that's not really actualizing actually. Right? The actualization of the thoughts would be when you, let's say, you present your thesis to the board of PhDs. Okay, then you actualize your thoughts. But to actually would only be once you actually do it. Okay, and that is the second hey. So the second hey is that after I actually actualize my thoughts, then I figured out how to flesh out the ideas into actions, and then that's through the emotions. And then the hey represents to actually manifest those ideas and feelings into a practical thing. Okay, so really in the last hey of the name of Hashem really lies everything. It really lies the essence of making things real. And so the reason I'm emphasizing this last hey is because it's this last hey which is actually the hey of the month of Nissan is this last hey. Okay, it's the hey of the month of Nissan. That the letter of the month that we're entering right now is the letter of manifestation in the deepest way. Okay, so what? No, but the energy of Nissan is just an Aramaic word. That the essence of the month of Nissan is, it says that all 12 months have a letter that is corresponding to that month. Okay, so Nissan is corresponding to the letter Hey. Yeah, that's what Avram Avinu teaches us.
Is that even Rosh Kodesh, Nissan?
No, it's
the
connected.
Torah, what does it say?
It's Chodesh HaRishon. It's Chodesh
Chodesh
HaRishon. The names of the months in Aramaic, they only came after the first exile. It says when Ezra came back after the first exile, so he brought with them these Akkadian Aramaic names. Okay? So, but because he brought it back, he put it into Torah, and that's why that we can learn out from it. Even though it's like in the source, it was actually non-Jewish, but the fact that it has to do with the month with the word Nes, so that's why Bnei Sasser says that it's coming to teach us that it's the month of miracles. Okay, so we're talking about the Hey of Nisan. So we're talking about the really manifesting, bringing things down in the deepest way. And the question is, how could it be that the month of Nisan is about the letter Hey, if the letter Hey is the last of the letters of the name of Hashem? If Nisan is the first of the months, so then why does it make sense that the first of the months has the last of the name of Hashem? Okay, so to understand this, so we need to come to a different teaching. It says in the Gemara, it says in the Midrash, so that the Gemara says that there's a dispute as to when the world was created. Okay, that there's two opinions as to when the world was created. Either it was created in Tishrei or it was created in Nisan. Okay, so the Aries teaches that the truth is it's not a contradiction. That there was two levels of creation. That there was a creation in thought and there's a creation in action. Okay, and so which is which? So the Arizal says that in Tishrei it was the creation in thought, and in Nisan is the creation in action. So actually, when was the first time that man actually woke up? That Adam and Chava actually woke up? It was actually Nisan. Okay, so this tomorrow night is actually the day of, as far as we're concerned, of like actually when did the sin of the Eitz Hadat, when did it all happen? It all happened in Nisan, and that's why the mitzvah of Pesach, the eating matzah, is we are trying to rectify the sin of the tree of knowledge, because it was actually happening right now. Okay, so the essence of the difference between Tishrei and Nisan is the Tishrei is about thought, and Nisan is about action. And that's why actually that Yud, which we said is the letter of thought, so Yud is corresponding to the month of Elul. Okay, because really, the sixth day of creation, was on Tishrei. So really, the beginning of the thought was really 5 days earlier, which is really an Elul. So really, an Elul is the beginning of the first spark of thought that came down, the thought of creation, the beginning of the thought of creation, the thought of let there be light, that actually happens on the 25th day of Elul. So that's why Elul, the letter corresponding to the month of Elul, is the letter Yud, which is the letter of machshava, thought, and the letter which is corresponding to action is in Nissan. By the way, now why by Elul, why when it comes to Tishrei we say that the beginning was really in the first month? Why don't we say the same thing? By Nissan, we should say the beginning of the action was really in Adar, not in Tish, but not Nissan. But the answer is obvious, because when it comes to thought, the most important part is the beginning. The most important part of our thought is the breakthrough, that first out of nowhere, that from zero to the beginning to think. So that took place in Elul. That's the beginning of the process. Whereas when we're talking about Maisa, we're talking about actualizing. So what's more important is finishing the Maisa. Okay, that's in Nissan. Okay, so this is why that in after Tishrei we have the months of the winter, where everything is dormant and everything is gray and sulky, and like things aren't so alive. And then when it comes to Nissan, so after Nissan comes the spring, comes the summer, and everything starts blossoming, and everything is very, very alive, because it's about doing, it's about manifesting. This is when the world was meant to actually blossom. Okay, and this is the energy of the hay of Nissan. Now, to understand this a little bit deeper, so if we look at the picture of the letter hay, so you'll notice that it's more obvious in the way it's written in the Sefer Torah. But what is a hay? A hay is a daled with a dot. Okay, so that dot over here. So if you look at the Sefer Torah, you'll notice that it's actually an upside down yud. Meaning a hay is made of a yud plus a dalet. Okay, that's how you create a hay. Okay, so what is
it upside down yud?
Why is it upside down? In the Sefer Torah, it's literally an upside down yud. It's written that the.
What would be? How's it upside down? It's the same thing, no?
No, it's this like.
So why is it upside down? Why is the yud upside down?
Like it's written like this. This is an upside down.
Yeah. Because of the crown thing.
The crown is something else. This bottom part is simply an upside down yod. Like a regular yod is like this, and this is. So what's the idea? What's the idea of the dalet plus the yud? Okay, so the yod we said is a dat, and that's why the yod is the basic building block of every letter, and the yod is simply the smallest thing that we can consider when it comes to the Hebrew language. So every letter is actually made of many yuds. Yeah, that's the way we look at it. So that's why yud is symbolizing machshava. It's symbolizing the thought, because that eureka moment where something comes down, so that's represented by that spark. That spark is symbolized by the letter yud. Okay. So what's dalet? Dalet represents 4. Okay. 4. We know that there's 4 corners of the world. There's 4 directions. 4 ways to expand. Okay, so we're talking about 4. When we're talking about dalet, we're talking about expansion. Okay, we're talking about that from that very, very condensed, concise spot, dot. So then it's being expanded to the whole world. Okay, and that is the dalet connected to the yud. The dalet connected to the yud. This is why it says when Hashem created the world, so he used the letter dalet, and he used the name Shakai. Okay, it says that Hashem said that the name Shakai, that Shin Dalet Yud, is Sha'amar La'olam Dai, that the world was expanding, and then he took this expansion and he said, Adkan, that's too much, that now you need to stop. And that's why the dalet in the tefillin that we have, so that dalet is there's what it says is the back of Hashem. When it says that Moshe saw the back of Hashem, he saw the Dalit of Hashem's tefillin. Okay, so that Dalit, that represents Hashem's presence in the world. Hashem expanded His spiritual infinity into every element of the world, and that's represented by the Dalit. And that Dalit, together with the Yud, represents that even though it's so expanded, but you still have a center. You still have this Yud, that even though that things are getting so expansive, that Hashem's presence is now, it's not just this infinite dot, but now it's the entire galaxy, and it's so easy to lose focus. So the Dalit together with the Yud represents that even though it's so expansive, but the Yud is still present, it's still noticeable. Yeah?
Hashem isn't a physical being. How is he wearing tefillin?
It's symbolic.
Oh,
Right,
it's not
right.
literal.
It's not literal. I mean, it's literal, but it's symbolic. It's not physical. It is literal. It's just not physical.
Hashem has tefillin.
He has tefillin, but not physical tefillin.
Okay.
Right? When it says that when Moshe saw
What's not physical? I don't know.
what's not physical,
How's
the
it
opposite
not
of physical is
physical?
spiritual.
So I have to imagine spiritual tefillin.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So it says in the Gemara. It says in the Gemara that Ela Todot Hashemayim v'Haaretz Behi Baram. That's the beginning of Parak Bet in the Torah. That this is the story of the heavens and the earth, Behi Baram. And Chazal say, what's it mean, Behi Baram? Behe Baram. That Hashem created the world with Hey. And so the Midrash expounds on this. What does it mean that Hashem created the world with the letter Hey? So it expounds that the Hashem created the next world, Olam Haba, is created with the letter Yud. And Hashem created this world with the letter Hey. Now, the Gemara says another thing, and that is that there's a difference between Ish and Isha. Ish is with a Yud, and Isha is with a Hey. Okay? And that's what it says, that Ish v'Isha im zachu shchina shriya b'nehem. That man and woman, if they merit, so that Hashem's presence will dwell between them. Okay? So what does it mean? It means that if they come together with love and harmony, so then they take the Yud and they take the Hey, and that's Shem Hashem. Okay? And if not, so then if you take away the Shem Hashem, then it's left with Ish, then you're left with fire. Okay? So what do you see in this? That men are more connected to Olam Haba, and women are more connected to Olam Hazeh. Okay? That's why
Women are more connected to Olam Hazeh?
Women are more connected to Olam Hazeh. Right? And that's why
women are way more spiritual.
That's also true. Okay? But when it comes to the being able to manifest spiritual levels in this world, so men are more. Like that's why men have more mitzvot, and that's why men are. And
I thought that's the reason in Dafka why we have more mitzvot, because women are more connected.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually have to do all their things to connect to Hashem. They really
the tikkun of the spiritual things, like for example, the Beis Hamikdash, and learning Torah. So those things, the job for those things is for men, because the men's job in this world is to bring down spirituality into the world. Women are automatically there, so that's not the tafkid in the world. Okay, and the tafkid in the world is to bring it into this world. The tafkid in the world is their mission in this world is not to bring down spirituality; it's to allow the spirituality to be embraced into the physical. Okay,
so it seems like it's like the opposite of your nature. That's your job, like it's outside of man's nature to be spiritual, hence all of the mitzvot, and then women, it's out of their nature to be material, and that's why they have to do all this stuff here.
So why did you say women are more physical, men are more spiritual?
I didn't say they're more physical. I said that they're tafkid in this world. They're more connected to the physical world in their mission.
In their mission.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's weird because when Mashiach comes, it's more women oriented, like the
We'll see.
atmosphere.
We will see.
It will be like
No, she's right.
Bina.
That was the secret of Miriam leading them in the circles.
Uh-huh.
And they had circular tambourines.
Uh-huh.
The circles are very feminine energy, and then on Abba, they have a very feminine energy about it.
Mhm.
On Mazah, and on Mazah.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
clearly we have a machlokus about this. It'll be settled when Mashiach comes.
Clearly men and women aren't the same.
Yes.
Mhm. So,
Question.
yeah.
You're using these
Should we say that?
movements, creation and thought, or action and thought, to the act of creation.
Yeah.
To Hashem.
Yes.
And it's a stupid question, but why does Hashem need thought?
Why does Hashem need thought?
Because that's for me something kind of anthropomorphizing.
When we talk about Hashem's thought, what we mean is that he put his infinite will / desire into something that could be expressed as an idea. So in this world, it's impossible to have a physical plan before you have an idea. So when we say that Hashem had a thought, that's another way of saying that he condensed his infinite will into rational thought. It may be super rational thought, but it was still thought.
I understand. But on the other hand, concerning the human beings, putting the thought in the first law doesn't correspond to whole things in psychology, because it's always feelings which comes at the first part. It's always 99% of our brain, whatever we do, it's even if we think, it's thought. They're mostly feelings, and in this...
in Judaism, we believe that a person has the ability to control their emotions. A person has the ability to control their emotions through their thought, and a person that is in control of themselves will condition their emotions according to their thoughts.
Okay, so that's it.
That we don't believe that a person should just allow themselves to feel whatever they want to feel. If I'm not in the mood to get up today, so then that's okay. I'm exaggerating, but you're right. Like there is a lot of a notion in psychology to just like accept all of my thoughts, whether they're good or bad, my feelings, and
the perception. You see something you like, you don't
but
like.
but the truth is, but the truth is that we do have the power to change our emotions based on our thoughts. I can choose to love something. I can choose to hate something, and once we realize that we have this ability, so then it's very empowering. Okay? So this is the connection between Yud and Hey. Yud and Hey, that the Yud is the thought and the Hey is the actualizing that thought, and this is the essence of life. Okay, this is to bring the essence of life is that there is this infinite Yud, this infinite thought, which is expressed in the world of Hey, in the world of the expansion, and that's why it says, as we say in Hallel, we're going to say on Tuesday, that Lo Hametim Yahalaluka V'lo Kol Yodei Duma, that dead people cannot praise Ka, Hashem, but the Yud K. And then the next pasuk says, V'anachnu, but we are not dead. We are alive. So because we are alive, so V'anachnu Nevarech, that there's something very unique about us as being alive, that we can praise Hashem with this name of Yud K. Okay? So what does this mean? What does it mean that we're praising Hashem? What does it mean that we're praising Hashem with the Yud K? So this really brings us to the next point, that we said that the month of Nissan has a certain sense to it, a certain attribute to it, and that is sicha. Okay, sicha. Sicha means literally conversation, speaking about speech, and this is connected to the month of Nissan. This is connected to the holiday of Pesach, because it says that when we were exiled in Egypt, so the essence of the exile, the Aries teaches it that the essence of the exile was galut hadibur, that our speech was in exile, that we weren't able to speak properly. We were shut up. We were just muted by the intensity, by the anxiety, by the trauma of being enslaved. So it shut us up. That we couldn't speak, we couldn't express ourselves, and this is obviously expressed in the leader of the Jewish people at the time, Moshe Rabbeinu, that he was aral sfatayim, that the Torah describes him as having some kind of speech impediment, that his speech was closed off. Okay, so that's why that coming out of Egypt, the exodus from Egypt, the Geula was expressed with Pesach, with the Ari teachers. The Pesach stands for Pesach. Pe is a mouth, Sach. that speaks. Okay, so Pesach is that the mouth that speaks, and that's why. What are we doing the whole Seder night? We don't stop talking.
I never knew that.
Okay.
Everyone else knows that. Hey, that's so cool.
So my team for Jews, huh?
Uh-huh.
Shut up.
So there's a mitzvah. There's a mitzvah of talking about this, about the story. There's a mitzvah of halal, and like this is we keep on using our mouth to talk. Okay. Interestingly, that the Bnei Yissaschar notes that the word Nissan is the same gematria as double Peh. Is 170. Peh is 85, and Nissan is 170.
770?
170.
Nice
170.
try.
Nice try. Yeah. That of course the Geula is 770, but that goes without saying. That we don't. No, so Nissan is 170, which is Peh. Okay. So what are these two Pehs? Okay, what are these two Pehs? So we said that the essence of life is the connection between that infinite chokhmah, the infinite thought process of God, to the physical expansion in the four corners. That's the hay, and this connection that is the essence of life. That's why it says that's what lo hametim yahaluka. So the truth is that this is extremely connected to speech, because that when Adam was created, which was, we said, on Tuesday, when he was physically created, physically with a mouth. So it says that Hashem took this afar min hadama, he took the dust from the earth, and he put a breath of life into it. It says Vayihi Adam leNefesh Chaya, and that this connection between the breath of life, which is the soul, which is the infinite, with the dust of the earth, which is the four, which is the finite, he put them together. It says Vayihi Adam leNefesh Chaya, and then Adam was alive, a living soul. So there's a famous comment from the Targum Onkelos, the translation of Onkelos. It says, what does it mean that he was a living soul? L'ruach memalala. L'ruach memalala, a speaking soul. To be alive is to speak. So why is speaking the expression of life? Because it's through a person's speech that their soul is expressed in physical terms. Okay? It's through my speech that I'm actually moving my tongue, I'm moving my lips, and that I'm using physical things to do something. But what am I expressing? I'm expressing my soul. Okay? And this is why, like the Chavetz Chaim writes about Lashon Hara, about how our speech is such an amazing treasure that we have. It's such an amazing quality that we have. This ability to speak is such an amazing thing. That the reason is because this is the essence of who we are. The essence of our life this is where my soul is connecting with my body. Okay, and that's why that in that same pasuk, lo hametim yahaluyav velo kol yardei duma. It refers to the people that are dead as the people who are duma. Duma is means silent. Like, to be dead is the world of silence, and to be alive is the world of expression, the world of talking, the world of communication. So that's why speech is expressed as life, and that's why that when we have a hay, until you have a hay, you could have the best brain in the world, you could be full of amazing ideas. If you don't have a mouth, nobody's going to know about them. Okay, so that's the hay. That's why the yud, as amazing as the yud could be, if it doesn't have a hay, so it's never going to get anywhere. Okay, and that's why speech requires this physicality in order to express itself. So this is really the connection between the hay and the sicha. Now, so the Shem Shmuel, the Sakot Shavar, so he says an amazing thing, and that is that there's actually, we said that there's two pairs. Nissan is peh. There's 85 and 85. So what's the two pairs? So the Shem Shmuel writes that the truth is that there's also our peh, there's also our davening and our telling stories and our communication with each other and our expression. There's also another peh, and that is the peh of Hashem. And that is that besides the fact that our mouths got out of exile, that we were able to start talking, we were able to stay halal. So, but the truth is that Hashem had also been silent for a very, very long time. Because what does it mean for Hashem to talk? When we're talking about Hashem's talking, Hashem is actually talking to the world through what we call hashgacha pratit. The fact that Hashem is in charge, He's orchestrating everything that happens in history. That's the way that God is talking to us. Okay? Somebody says that history is that Hashem is hiding through history. Hashem is the author of history. He's the one who's calling all the shots in everything that happens in world history. So the truth is that Hashem has a desire, and that is to show the world His presence. And part of Hashem's desire to show the world His presence is specifically involving the Jewish people, because it's through us that He is showing the world what He wants the world to know. So until there was a Jewish people, so Hashem really had a problem. He wanted to speak to the world, but He didn't have anyone through which He could speak. Okay? And so really, Noach wasn't Jewish. When Hashem was talking about, I want to bring out to the world my ratzon, so that was only through the Jewish people. There was private things. There was private, you guys have to do tshuva, but to bring Hashem's will into the world, that's only through Torah, and that's only once we had the Jewish people. So that's why it says that for the first 26 generations, so it says that there's 26 lines, and we say on Shabbos that Hodul Hashem Kitov Kili Lam Chasto. May the Hokapeta tell him, Hodul Hashem Kitov, Hodul Elokei Elokim, Kilam Chasto, Hodul Adonai Adonim, Kilam Salos Tifos Kedalos Levado, Kilam Chasto. So there's 26 lines. 26 lines. So the Chazal say, what's the 26 lines of Kili Lam Chasto? 26 generations that the world was just pure chesed. That it didn't make any sense. The world could not justify its existence because there wasn't yet the Jewish people. And it was just pure kindness that Hashem allowed the world to exist. That's 26 generations, the 10 generations from Adam to Noach, then 10 generations from Noach to Avram, then Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Levi, Kehat, Amram. Amram, that was Moshe's father. That was the generation before Kabbalah Satar. Okay, so then the 27th generation was already that now the world makes sense. Now it makes sense that there's a world, and it's only then that Hashem started speaking to the world because He had the Jewish people. Okay, so that the ratzon of Hashem to speak to the world, that Hashem should say, "Hey guys, I'm here. Like, talk to me. Know me." That what we daven for Rosh Hashanah, that the entire world should know that there is a Creator, that the entire world should know that there is a King, that we're the reason why we exist. So Hashem has been like, "Hey, hello, everybody," and He's only saying that through the Jewish people. It's through the Jewish people that Hashem is able to communicate to the world. So it's really the beginning of Nissan started with the Nisim of Hashem speaking after this extreme silence of 26 generations. So Hashem's mouth finally started talking in Nissan, in the story of Pesach. Okay, so it's through Hashem's peh, through Hashem's talking, through Hashem finally making the world very aware that I'm here. And if you don't think I'm here, so let me turn all your water into blood. And if you don't think I'm here, so let me kill all your firstborns. And if you don't think I'm here, so let me split the Red Sea. And now I've been keeping quiet for so long. Now you're gonna hear a lot of me. There was an amazing amount of miracles that happened in the story of Pesach. That Hashem was finally He had been taking this silent retreats for 26 generations, and then finally he needs to get a lot out. So as a response to this amazing peh of Hashem is finally speaking down to this world, so the response was that we are speaking as well. And that's the Pesach of us, and that's the Sipur Tzis Mitzrayim, and that's that we were finally able to praise Hashem. We're finally able to recognize Hashem, and this is the second peh, our response, our reaction to Him. Okay, so let's take a moment to analyze what this has to do with Aries. With Aries, with the astrology of the month of Nissan. It's called Mazal Tzleh, which is a lamb. So
really?
Yeah.
That's the mazal of Pesach?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Tzleh.
The lamb.
Tzleh. It means a lamb. means a lamb.
Oh, lamb.
Mhm.
That's kind of ironic. Because the Egyptians worshipped that.
And the carbon paste.
Exactly. That's not sure why you call that ironic. It's perfect.
Isn't
And-
this like Avodah Zarah?
Is whatever is there.
Like to give credence to the zodiac?
Oh, no, Avram Avinu does it. That's why I started the class. That the source of astrology is actually from the Sefer Yetzirah.
Astrology or astronomy?
What? Astrology. Astronomy is scientific. It's not
So you talk about astrology?
astrology.
Astrology
Yeah. The understanding that having a certain
is
being.
a Scorpio and a Capricorn.
Exactly,
so
yes.
you're gonna
Yes, it
work
comes
that
from
out.
us. They took it from us.
Yeah, but like, doesn't Rambam say not to pay attention to all this stuff?
No.
Maybe the
So-
horoscopes, your lucky
So
numbers
first
as
of
well.
all, so first,
Jews are above it. That doesn't matter like what it says.
Mhm.
Like,
what we don't believe in horoscope. We don't believe that because you're born under a certain sign that's going to affect your future. Okay, that we say that the Jews are above that. That through tshuva and ma'asim tovim and tefillah, you can overcome any bad omens, any bad predictions that could have been against you. But we do believe that it's a reality that people have different personality traits, and part of the things that affect the personality traits is their.
We actually believe that.
We actually believe it.
Part of
Okay.
nature.
it's like the
Yeah, no, I'm all for it, but I don't know that the Jew.
Okay. Yeah. Now you can embrace it with your Judaism.
And I always get
Okay.
on with Scorpios, with Capricorn and Cancer women. So
Okay.
definitely.
I'm not sure if the stuff of like who's a good match for who. I'm not sure if that's real, but the basic stuff is like it started 3,000 years ago. So it's been added onto a lot over the years. I don't know exactly what's real and what's not real, but the basic things are certainly real. So one thing we know about Aries, about Tzlev, is that they're charismatic, they're high energy, they're ambitious, they like to take charge, and this makes a lot of sense when we think about the fact that Aries is the first of the mazalot. It's the first mazal. It's like the Chodesh Hazeh, Rishon Hu Lachem L'Chodshei Hashana. This is the very first constellation that is being brought into creation in the physical world. So when the world was physically created, this was actually the first physical constellation. So
the
there's
order is right, like
the orders-
the whatever.
yes, they are. Yes,
When
correct.
our zodiac starts
Good.
in.
It starts in Aries. No, she's right. They also know that it's right. That Aries is
It
the
also
first one.
starts in theirs. It starts.
Mhm.
Yeah?
Nissan.
It does. They know the Nissan is first, and so because it's the hatchala, because it's this first energy. So part of being the first energy is that you're full of energy. Okay, you're like a person who's like never existed before, and like I'm the first thing to exist. So of course you're going to be very charismatic and very full of energy, and that also brings him to the nakuda of being a leader, which is obviously connected to the tribe, which is connected to the month of Nissan, which is the tribe of Yehuda, because from Yehuda comes Mashiach, comes from Moshe Rabbeinu Mashiach, and the what you call it,
Yehuda himself is the
Right.
leader.
Yehuda is also leader at that time,
Yeah.
and also Yaakov blesses him that the kings are always going to be from Yehuda. Okay,
What are the dates?
it's like 20 to 20.
From April from now to.
No, the opposite. From March to April. March 20th to April
And
20th.
Hitler was an Aries.
Hmm?
And Hitler was an
There you go.
Aries. One of the greatest leaders of all time.
I felt that.
One of the greatest of all. I'm just
Right.
saying.
I felt that energy on Shabbos. Like it just felt like David Melech. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. There you go. Okay. So this is David Melech's month. Okay.
Really, it's his birthday.
No, it's not his birthday. His birthday. I don't know. It's Yom Shavuos. It's Yom Shavuos. But this is the energy of Yehuda, which is the energy of Geula. Like when we're talking about David Melech, the most important thing about David Melech is that Mashiach ben David is the Goel. He's the Redeemer. So this is the month of redemption. Okay. When we talk about Yehuda, we're talking about Geula. Okay. So because it's the first, because this is the first mazal which is coming into the world, so you have that energy of that I'm going to take control. They also have these Aries people, so they're fearless, that they're not scared of challenges, they're not scared of risks, and this we see in Nachshon ben Aminadav, who is the prince of the tribe of Yehuda, that when it came to when they came to the Red Sea, which also happened, the story happened in the month of Nissan, that he was the one that he went until that he jumped in, and he was the one that made this like, I'm going to trust Hashem, I don't care, it's going to be okay. And this fearlessness of the leader. So this we see in the tribe of Yehuda.
What was Moshe Rabbeinu?
He was a Levi, but he also has
I'm just saying his son.
Hmm?
His son.
Signs.
Oh, his sign.
Yeah.
Oh, his Pisces, right?
Moshe was
Yeah.
Adam,
Adar, right? Yes. So another thing we know about Aries is that when someone's in need, they're quick to help them. Okay, and this really represents the energy of the Mashiach. This represents the energy of this desire. First of all, we see this in Moshe, even though he himself, like we said, Moshe himself was a Levi, but he has the neshama of Mashiach. That neshama of Mashiach is the first time that we see Moshe Rabbeinu. We see that he goes outside and he sees one of his brothers being beaten up, and he goes and he saves him. Okay, so this is the essence of the Goel. The essence of Mashiach is a desire that nobody should be in pain, a desire to fix the world. Okay, I've told you before. The Rav Steinsaltz said that what's something unique in the Jewish people is that every Yid deep down wants to be Mashiach. Every Yid deep down, he wants to be the one that I'm going to save the world. I'm going to bring the world to
When I thought I hit my bar
redemption.
mitzvah, Mashiach's coming.
So this is
Literally.
so this is
I
Mount
was going to get all
Mission.
the goals in the world as well.
So now,
Doesn't
now,
happen.
now, now, there's an interesting thing about
Reason.
about Aries, that they have a downside to them, and that is that they have a certain impatience. They have a certain impulsiveness and lack of patience. And so the way I look at that is that the impatience of the Aries is that it's like in Chabad they're always saying Mashiach now.
What?
Right? So like I feel like it's like because he has this energy of Geula, but yet he's the first. He's the first of the Mazalot. So like he doesn't have the patience for the hay. The hay is the process. The hay is how the Geula is actually going to come, and that brings him to this impulsiveness. And that's why the true tikkun for the Aries is to really get in touch with what it means to have a hay, because the essence of having a hay is that things have a slow process. There's no quick fixes, and the only way to bring Hashem into the world is to really make the entire expansion of the Dalit, and that every single element of the world is going to be figured out. How can I bring Hashem into this? Okay, so this is really how that, like in the character type, the personality type of the Aries, of the Mazal Tzleh, really we see the elements of the Goel, of the redemption, which is the essence of Nissan, and this of course is connected to the tribe of Yehuda, because from Yehuda we have probably the two most famous people that come from Yehuda is David HaMelech and the descendant of David HaMelech of Mashiach. Okay, and so David HaMelech, what was his thing? His thing was Shirot v'Tishbachot. His thing was singing to Hashem. His thing was Tehillim. He was always davening. David HaMelech says Va'ani Tfilah. So David HaMelech, his thing was he completely rectified the peh of the Jewish people. Okay, and the Mashiach, his tikkun is to rectify the peh of Hashem, so to speak, because it's through the Mashiach that Hashem is going to bring the world to exactly where He wants it to be. Like really to fix the world, that the entire world should be screaming Hashem's presence. That is the job of Mashiach ben David. So it's through Shevet Yehuda that we have also the peh of Hashem and also the peh of the Jewish people. Now I want to just end off by it's just an amazing story that we have on Pesach. So we said that it's our job to react to Hashem's talking. Hashem is doing all these miracles, and it's our job to react with our peh. Okay, that's the peh of Hashem, of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the peh of us, of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. So that peh plus peh equals Nissan. So that what?
It just sounds funny.
Yeah.
Pepper.
So the truth is that that I think that there's a beautiful story that I heard from Baal Shem Tov that really brings out this point in a very beautiful way. That before the Baal Shem Tov passed away, so he was telling all the students, he was delegating jobs to all of his students. And so to one of his students he said, it's your job to give over all of my Torahs. And to another student he said, it's your job to help all of the orphans. And for the other job, that one he said, it's your job to work for the people who are kidnapped, to ransom them. And for you, he said, it's your job to make sure all the kalos. And everybody had a particular job that, like, when I pass away, so you need to take over what I was doing. And then to one of the students he said, to the last student, the Baal Shem Tov, who was also from Yehuda, by the way, who was also from David, and he said to the last student, he said, we don't know who this is. He says that your job is that it's your job to tell my stories. Everything, all the crazy stories that you saw about me, that you saw with me, that you've been hanging around me for all these years, and you saw how many amazing things I did to help the Jewish people. So I give you the task of going around the world to tell the world the stories about me. Okay? And so he said, Rebbe, but that's like, how can I do that? My family, I'll always be traveling. It's going to be such a hard life. And he says, no, you'll be okay. And he says, Rebbe, I have to do this for my entire life. So he says, no, you'll know when the time has come that you finished your task. So you'll know. So he said, so he passed away. So he passed away, and so he's going and he's trying to make a living and he's a inspirational speaker, as we would call him. He tells stories and people pay him, and so he's going from place to place. Meanwhile, he hears that there's a guy, after years of having really making a difficult time to make a living. So here's there's some guy in Austria that he's obsessed with stories of the Baal Shem Tov, and he's willing to pay 1 ruble for every story, 1 ruble per story from the Baal Shem Tov. So he hears about this and says, "Oh my gosh, this is my lucky day! I'm the expert in Baal Shem Tov stories. I know thousands of stories. I'm going to make it for the rest of my life." This is probably what Baal Shem Tov was talking about. So he travels 2 weeks to get to this guy, and he says, "Hello, I heard that you're into Baal Shem Tov stories. I want you to know that I'm an expert in Baal Shem Tov stories. Not only am I an expert in Baal Shem Tov stories, but the holy Baal Shem Tov himself, before he passed away, so he gave me the holy task of going around the world to tell his stories. So, if I may, can I be a guest for you on Shabbos? And then on Shabbos I can tell you to your heart's delight. I can go into the wee hours of the night." So he says, "Of course, it'd be my great honor." So he's all excited, and he goes to show, and then he comes to the meal, and he invites a lot of people to the meal, and then after the meal, he puts up a sign. There's going to be an oneg in my house, and we have the holy merit of the storyteller of the Baal Shem Tov is going to be telling all the stories, and so everybody, the house fills up. There's hundreds of people in this guy's house, and then all eyes are on the Baal Shem Tov student, and he starts shaking, and he starts thinking, and he just doesn't know what to say. He looks around, and he says, "Give me a couple more minutes." And they're think is crazy, and he's thinking. And he says, I don't know what happened. I promise you this never happened before. I'm just drawing blank. I don't know what to tell you. And so the what you call it, so he says, "Okay, I don't understand. You're tired from the traveling. So B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow it'll be good." So he tells everybody, tomorrow, same time, same place. We're here. Okay, so he sleeps, and the next day, so after the meal, so the whole place fills up, and the same thing repeats itself. He's silent. He's just completely blanking out. Can't think of one freaking story, and so he's so humiliated, and so It's like, so like he's like, should I? He says, no, should I come? Should I not come? He ends up coming, but like nobody really shows up, and like once again, he's just doesn't know what to say. So he saw after Shabbos, so he goes to his host and he says, I have no words. There's nothing I can say. I'm just so embarrassed. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Obviously, don't pay me anything. I can't apologize enough for embarrassing you so much, and like I hope that you find the good stories from other people. Zat Hashem. And he says, no, don't worry, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I appreciate so much that you came, and here's some money for your effort, and whatever. And then, so he starts packing, and then he's on his way out, and he starts to come back, and like he's about to leave, and then suddenly, one story comes to his mind, and he says, I have a story for the Baal Shem Tov. He's just knocking like crazy, like amazing news. I remembered one story, and so he opens the door, and the guy, he looks like his eyes are all puffy, like he's been like his eyes are red, and he's been crying, and he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" He says, "Yes, please come in." So he says, "Okay, so it's a weird story. I don't remember the whole story. I just remember like the middle of the story, but like it's something, okay." So I remember the Baal Shem Tov, so he took us and he said, we have a special mission tonight. We're going to the middle of the Christian quarter. And so he comes, I think it's Christmas night, and they come to this to town square, and lo and behold, this night, so they're planning a huge pogrom, okay, and so the priest, so he's like in the town square, and he's wearing all the stuff, and he's about to rile up the people. Everybody's gathering, and so the Baal Shem Tov stops by some door with a mezuzah and knocks on the door, and they say, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "It's Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, open up." And so he says, "Come fast! But why are you came to kill us? You came to kill yourself? What are you doing? You don't know it's dangerous." And so he said, "No, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry." So they're waiting for a couple of minutes, and then the Baal Shem Tov comes to me. He says, "Okay, now it's time. I want you to go to the town square and go to the priest and tell him that the Baal Shem Tov needs to talk to you immediately." So he says, "Rebbe, I don't know if I'm going to come back alive." So he says, don't worry, it'll be okay." So he runs to the town square, goes up, and the priest is about to start talking, and he says, "I've messaged you. The Baal Shem Tov says that he wants to talk to you immediately." So the guy looks like startled, which is a surprise to him. But he says, "Tell the Baal Shem Tov that I'm busy right now, but I'll come back in an hour." So he comes back and tells the Baal Shem Tov, and he says, "Tell him, go back right now. Tell him that if he cares about his life, that he better come right now." And so he goes back, and right in time, right before he's about to start speaking, so he goes. So he says, Baal Shem Tov says that if you don't come this very instant, then your life is over. And so he says, "Okay, guys, I'll be right back." So like hold out until I come back. And so he comes to Baal Shem Tov, and so he comes in, and so it turns out that this priest had actually been a Jew, and the Baal Shem Tov knew that, and this Jew, so he had a hard childhood, and he decided that he was going to leave Judaism, and he went off the derech, and he became part of the church, and to prove that how devoted a Christian he was, so he became the biggest anti-Semitic priest that they ever knew, and he was in charge of the most pogroms, and the Baal Shem Tov really, really wanted to be a Makarevim, and so this night, so he spoke to him for 5 hours straight, and he was able to be mechazer this guy b'tshuva, to bring him back, that he should leave Christianity and stop, but before he left, he said, "Rebbe, that I've done such horrible things in my life. How will I know that Hashem has accepted my tshuva?" And the Rebbe told him that, "I'll tell you what, that if one day you hear your story, that'll be the sign that Hashem accepted your tshuva. So he says that's the story. That's all. I don't know what happened after that, but I thought it was really awesome that the Baal Shem Tov was able to take this priest that was about to kill the Jews and be able to makarev him b'tshuva, and like I think that's amazing. And so his host looks at him and he says, Rabbi Yid, do you recognize me? And he says, no, I don't recognize you. What am I supposed to recognize you? And he says, that was me. I'm that priest. You just told my story. And I knew when you first came the first night, I recognized you immediately. And I knew that this is my chance. That there's only one person in the entire world that could tell me my story, and that's you. And I finally found you. And I knew that when you couldn't remember any stories, I knew that was a sign that I hadn't done enough tshuva. So the entire night I was doing tshuva, but it still wasn't enough. And then the next morning you still couldn't remember, and you still couldn't remember. And then you left, and I thought it was over. And I said, like, Hashem, you can't leave me. That I'm going to die without tshuva. You have to accept my tshuva. And I cried like I never cried before in my life. And you see that now Hashem finally accepted my tshuva. So this is the story. This is the story of the Baal Shem Tov's storyteller. And so Pesach is the holiday of storytelling. This is the mitzvah that it's a mitzvah l'saper kol hamarba l'saper harei meshubach, and the essence of Pesach is telling stories. Is sicha. Is the sicha of Chodesh Nissan is all about Pesach. And so what's a real story? A real story is when you hear a story and you hear yourself in that story. And so I realized that what are we supposed to be doing, the Leila Seder? That we're telling over what happened, we're telling over the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, but you don't really hear the story unless you hear yourself in that story. Unless when I'm hearing the story, it's resonating in me that this is my story. That's what it really means. That is tshuva. Tshuva is that when I hear a story, I hear that this is my story. And this is the essence of Pesach. That Hashem wants to tell us stories, and he's telling us, he wants us to he wants us to know the story of the world, the story of life, the story of mankind, but he wants us to really hear the story, to really see that we are a part of that story. And when we hear ourselves in Hashem's story, then we can start telling stories, and then we can open up our peh, and we can have our hala and our sefer Mitzrayim, and this is our tshuva. This is the geula. This is the geula when Hashem is telling his stories and we're telling back our stories, and this is really what's going to bring the world. This is the essence of redemption, and this is the energy of this month. So I bless us all that we should mamish be able to connect to all the stories and all of the sicha of all the peh that's going on in the month of Nisan. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to really, really hear our own stories and be able to tell amazing stories to the world.
Yeah, thank you.